Today's session we'll be talking about the Ampscript functions. Okay, so let's go to the email. So a function is basically a code snippet which is written in the backend. We just need to use that function. Okay, so and every function will take some input, the input will be processed in the backend, and then it will return some output, right? So we have different categories of functions based on their functionality or based on what kind of work they are doing. So we have data extension functions, content function, date and time math, site-based, string utility. So data extension functions are those functions which are used to interact with data extension, right? So if you want to retrieve the data, if you want to insert the data, so we can use those functions. So let's understand the functions one by one. Okay, so I already have written all the functions over here. So we'll use this email message to understand the function. Let me just do preview first. Okay, so the first function that we're going to take a look at is the lookup function. Okay, so we are looking at the data extension functions now. Now, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to retrieve the data from the data extension. Now, let me just duplicate the tab and let's take a look at the data extension first. So I'll go to this data extensions. Let's go to this folder. And this is the data extension that you would be using, Ampscript demo DE. Okay. Now here we have a couple of records over in this data extension. So what we need to do, we basically need to retrieve the first name of the customer where customer ID is equals to let's say 009. Okay, so this one. So let's say we have a requirement. You can understand this with a use case. Let's say we have the customer ID stored for. So we have the customer ID stored for customer, and we need to retrieve the first name of the customer. Then we need to display. This is the first name of the customer, or maybe let's say any other detail that you want to retrieve for the customer, we can retrieve from the data extension. So how exactly we use this function? So this function will take 4 parameters, or like it could be more than that. So the first argument, okay, so here you can see the inputs that we are passing, like they are separated by the comma. Okay, so this is my first argument. You can say argument or input or parameter, whatever it is. So this is my first argument, and then comma, and then my second argument, and then comma, and then third argument, and then comma. Okay, now what are these arguments? So first input that we need to pass is the name of the data extension from where we want to retrieve the data, because that's something we have to tell the system. Otherwise, how the system would be able to retrieve the data, right? So we have to tell the name of the data extension from where we need to retrieve the data. Now the second parameter would be like what field that we want to retrieve. Like, do we want to retrieve the email address or first name? Like, what field that you want to extract fact that you have to mention the name of the field. Now the third and fourth parameter will be in the combination. Now what do I mean by that is that here we have to mention the condition or the criteria that I want the first name of the customer where, and this is the criteria, customer ID is equals to 009. Okay, so we have to mention customer ID comma and then the value. So this will be column name and column value. So the column name is customer ID and the value is 009. So and then what it will return, it will return me this thing, the first name, which is Michael. Okay, and we are going to store this value in our variable, that is first name, and then we are using the output v function to display the content of this variable. Okay, so let me just remove the comment first and do the preview. Okay, so as you can see here, we are displaying the first name of the customer, that is Michael. Okay. So, I mean, these are the just two syntaxes, inline and block Ampscript. The way we write the Ampscript, inline Ampscript you would use when you want to execute a single function. And the block Ampscript you would use when you have read multiple lines. So we have used the delimiter over here now. So if you see this one, so this is the delimiter used for the block Ampscript. Now next function is the lookup rows. So the limitation with the lookup function is that we can only retrieve a single value. We cannot retrieve the entire row, right? So here we are only able to retrieve the first name. Let's say I want to retrieve the last name of the customer as well. Then I'll have to write, I'll have to use the lookup function again. And there I'll have to mention last name. Similarly, let's say if we have multiple fields. So for each field, we have to use the function. Sorry, again and again, right? Now, with the help of the lookup rows, what we can do, we can basically extract the entire row or the collection of rows. So let's say I want all those rows or I want all those data where last name is equals to Kumar from the state extension. So what I want to do that I want to tell the system that go to the state extension Ampscript demo de and find all the customers where last name is equals to Kumar. Okay, so this is the customer whose last name is Kumar. And the second last customer also where last name is equals to Kumar. So what system will do? It will basically return these two rows to you. Now, once we have these two rows, we have to store these two rows in some variable, right? So we have created one variable called rows. Now, there's one more function that is called row. So what has happened is that we don't have a single row, but we have multiple rows, right? We have two rows. We have this row and that row saved in this variable. Now we have to use row function to extract the first row or a single row from the collection of rows. So the technical term of the collection of rows is row set. Okay, so it is the set of rows. So lookup rows function will always return the row set. Now that row set we have to pass as a parameter or as an argument to the row function. Okay, so at the red rows, basically this is a variable which is containing two rows. So we are telling the row function that out of these two rows, extract and give me the first row. Okay, now this function will return something, so it will return the first row, which means this one, Atul Kumar row. So it will return this row. Now after that, that row will be saved in this variable that is called full row. Now what we need to do, we need to basically extract a single value from this row. Let's say I want to retrieve email address. Okay, so I want to retrieve the email address of this customer. So I'll use this field function, and then I'll have to pass this entire row, okay, which is saved in this full row variable, and in the column name, it will give me the value of the email address. And then I'm using the output function to display the content of this field value variable. Okay, let's say if we'll talk about order confirmation email. So let's say I want to print or maybe let's say I want to print all the transactions made by a customer, right? So whenever a customer makes a transaction, we will have a record over here, right? So what we want to do, that for this particular customer, what all transactions that we have to retrieve all the transactions for this customer and display in the email message. Okay, so what will happen, we will basically mention where customer ID is equals to this, or maybe customer's email address, whatever it is, and then we will extract all the rows and display over here, right? So in this example, it will only retrieve the first row, and what will happen, it will basically from the first row also, it will only retrieve the email address of the customer. But let's say if we want to do the same thing again and again, then what we can do, we can use a for loop, right? So we can use a for loop around this function, and it will basically keep running this again and again, and will give us the will be able to display all the data that is written by this lookup function, lookup rows function, sorry. So let me remove the comment first and then show you the output. So it would be your this one, atul@example.com. Yeah. So this is the email address that we have extracted. Yeah. Let's say if we have a data extension in which what we are doing, let's say we are going to print the bank transaction, maybe bank account transaction for some customer, right? So maybe I want to get an email for my last month bank transactions. Okay, now let's say there are maybe 50 different records. So in the database, I mean, how what will happen that for this particular customer, whatever the different rows are, we have to retrieve all the rows and print it. Now what will happen, that when we'll use the for loop, so we know like how many times we want to run this for loop, right? Maybe 50 times or 20 times and things like that. And the loop will basically run for these number of, I mean, whatever the number of records that we have, it will run, and it will automatically keep printing all the records that we have, right? But here, we don't know, I mean, how many times that we want to run. And also, like what we are doing, we already have all the data once retrieved in this variable, right? Now what we are just doing, that we are retrieving from this variable and printing it. So it is a, I mean, more faster operation compared to using the lookup function, extracting the data from the data extension again and again, right? So if you compare this, we have retrieved the data from the data extension once and saved in the variable. Now, when I'm using the field function, what exactly I'm doing, I'm extracting the data from the variable itself, right? I'm not extracting the data from the data extension. But here, if I'll use a lookup function again and again, every time I have to extract the data from the data extension itself, right? So if we are using just for one or two values, then it is more efficient. But when you want to retrieve, let's say, couple of rows, then it becomes very inefficient, or it will take longer time for the processing, and that becomes more efficient, the lookup rows. Okay, so let's say what used to happen, like in one of the projects, so we need to send the schedule, right? Let's say um there's a shipping company, and they basically send the schedule to the customers that for your ship, this is the schedule it's gonna be, and it will have, let's say, multiple rows. Okay, maybe from this to this destination, like at this point of time, the ship will arrive at this particular port, and maybe at this time the ship will arrive at this particular point, right? So for different customers, maybe if they are sending their some items, maybe they're shipping their items to some different destination, so it would be basically route kind of thing, right? So just imagine that in a data extension, for each customer there could be multiple records present, right? Now what we need to do, we need to basically extract all those records and display in the email message that for this customer, that this is the entire route information in multiple rows. So there we can use the lookup rows. So wherever you find that we have multiple records for a customer, we can use the lookup rows and display it. Or let's say, okay, one more example. Let's say bounce email. Okay, so generally what happens is, uh, let's say we are executing one email campaign, right? And and there are bounce records in the email campaign. Now, what the client wants is that whenever the bounce occurs, they want to be notified through email. Okay, so what we are doing, we are basically setting up one automation in which we are extracting the data from the data views and um, storing it in the data extension. Okay, now from the data extension, we need to retrieve the data and then display in the email message that, okay, these are the, let's say, bounce records in the last 24 hours or maybe in last 7 days or whatever it is, right? So what we will do, we will basically extract all the information from the data extension, like all the data, right? And then we will display it on the email message that, okay, this is the bounce, this is the email name, bounce reason, bounce category, and whatever the column that we are saving in the data extension will display in the email message. So wherever you think that we have multiple rows, you can basically use this function and extract the data. Here you will use the lookup rows only one time, right? And you will extract all the data that needs to be displayed. So now you have all the data saved in this variable. Now after that, what you need to do, you have to use the for loop, and like um like when the for loop will run for the first time, it will extract the first row and will display, let's say for this example, it will display, let's say, email, right? And then we'll use the field function again. It will display last name and first name, right? So and so forth. Now after that, in the second iteration of the for loop, what we will do, we will use the row function again, and it will extract the second row. Again, we will print this, right? Now in the third iteration, we will retrieve the third row, right? So you can use the for loop once and try it out. So next function that we have is the row count function. Now row count function tells us that how many rows that we have in the row set. So as we just discuss that, lookup rows function returns the row set. It means collection of rows. So here we will understand like how, like it will only take one parameter, that is this variable which contains the row set, and it will return the number of rows that the row set contains. So let's just preview and see. Okay, so it is returning two. So what does it mean? So it has two different rows, this one and then this one in the row set. Next function that we have is lookup rows CS. So it is just the enhanced version of the lookup rows function only. So in the lookup rows, what we do, we basically look up the, or we retrieve the entire row, right? Now here's one more thing that is added, which is CS. CS means case sensitive. Now the condition that we had specified over here, earlier it was not case sensitive. What does it mean? That it doesn't matter that which case we are searching for. So here the K is capital, right? And UMAR is small. So what it will do, it will, ignore the case part, like whether it is the case in the small or capital, it will not matter. And it will retrieve all the records where this last name is equals to Kumar. But when we use lookup row CS, like the case becomes sensitive, and we only want those customers where last name is equals to Kumar, and that too, like K should like the Kumar, the K at the first character, which is K, should be in the capital. Okay, so if you look at the data extension, there's only one record where K is in the capital, so it will only give us this record, which is the last record, second last record, right? So what it will do, so we'll use this lookup row CS function. We'll pass the name of the data extension and the condition like will also now consider the case sensitiveness. So it will only give us this second last record. Now after that, we'll be storing this in a rows like variable. We are using the row count function to verify like how many rows this row set contains, and then we are displaying the uh, number of rows. Right after that, we are using the row function. So row function we will use to extract the first row. So it contains only one row. So we are just extracting that first row, and then we are using the field function to display the name of the customer. Okay, and then we are displaying the output. So let's just see the preview first. So it is returning one Harry, right? So one was for the number of rows, and Harry is the name of customer for which where last name is equals to Kumar with capital K, right? Okay. So next function that we have is lookup ordered rows. So lookup ordered rows it will function the same way like the lookup rows, but with one more advantage. So here what we can do, we have to pass the name of the data extension. Along with that, the second argument says that how many rows that we want to retrieve, like maximum how many rows we want to retrieve. For example, this function, um, let's say returns, let's say returns 10 rows, okay, where last name is equals to Kumar, but we only want top 5. Okay, and how we are going to decide the top 5? Because of sorting. So how we are sorting the records, or how we are sorting the results, customer ID descending. Okay, so let's say we have this customer ID from 1 to 10, and like for all the customers last name is equals to Kumar. Now it will be first sorted, like it will be rearranged. Customer ID descending means 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, like this, right? And after sorting the result, it will basically retrieve the top 5 records, and then it will return that. Okay, so additionally it is doing two things. One thing, that it is sorting the results, and after that here we can mention that how many records that we want to retrieve from the result. Okay, so let's say, but there are only 2 records, so all the 2 records will be retrieved, right? So this is the maximum, not the minimum. So this is the maximum number that we want to retrieve. Now after that, everything will remain same. We are using the row function, and we are using the field function. Okay, so first what we are doing is that we are searching for last name is equals to Kumar. Okay, so this will give me these 2 records, this one, Atul one, and Harry one. Okay, now after that, what we are doing, we are sorting the results, customer ID descending. So what is the customer ID for Harry? 007, and for Atul it is 003. So it will be arranged like first it will come Harry, and then Atul will be in the second in the result, right? In the descending. Now after that, we are saying that we want top 5 records. So these are only 2 records, so all the 2 records will be retrieved. Now after that, what we are doing, we are using row 1. It means we are selecting the first row. So in the result, this is the first row, Harry 1, and the second row is this one. So what will happen? We will get the first row, that is Harry 1, and the first name would be Harry. So yeah, that's correct. So the output would be Harry only. Okay, so we are Harry. So let me just change the code a little bit, and then we will see if you are able to answer this or not. So let's say if I'll change this to 2, then what would be the output? So it would be Atul because now we are retrieving the second row, right? Yeah. Or let's say if I'll change it to 1 and if I'll change it to, let's say, ascending. Now what would be the output? Now we are doing customer ID ascending. So ascending means like this will become the first record and this will become the second record. So we are extracting the first record, that is it. Okay. So now we are good with this part. So next function that we have is lookup ordered row CS. Okay. So what does it mean? So it will basically add both the things. So we have seen lookup rows, lookup ordered rows, and lookup rows CS, right? So it is the combination of these three, lookup ordered rows CS. So here all the things will apply, like we are extracting the data from this data extension, how many maximum records that we want to retrieve, how we want to sort the results, and what would be the condition. And this condition will also consider the case sensitiveness. Okay. So if we will go to the data extension, see how is it working. So we want the data from this data extension where last name is equals to Kumar with a small k. So we only have one record, this one, right? Now after that, we will do the sorting customer ID descending. So since we only have one record, so it will be this record only. How many maximum records we want to retrieve? 3. So we only have one, so we are good to go. Now this will be saved in this variable and then row count function, row function, field function. So this will return basically Atul itself, right? So let's just check the result. Okay, so we have got one Atul, which means number of rows that is returned by this function as 1. And then the first name of the customer is Atul. Okay, so here what we are doing, lookup order row CS means we are also considering the case sensitiveness and we are also ordering the result. So we'll go to this jet extension Ampscript demo DE and then we have to search the records where last name is equals to Kumar. Now, since it contains CS in the function name, which means we have to consider the case sensitiveness. If you see the case is small over here, right? Yeah. So if you go to the data extension, so we only have one record where last name is equals to Kumar with a small k. Okay, so this is the one with the capital K. So now we only have this record. After that, what we are doing, we are basically using the customer ID descending. So since only one record, so like it will be like this only, right? We cannot sort a single record, right? After that, how many maximum records that we want to retrieve? 3. So we only have one record, so that one will be retrieved. And after that, we are using the row count function that will tell us how many records that we have in this variable. Okay, so we only have one record. After that, we are using the row function and then the field function to extract the first name. So let me comment this now. Okay, next function that we have is data extension row count. So it will only take one argument and it tells us how many records we have in the data extension. So let me just remove the comment. Okay, and then let me just preview. So it will give me 8, which is number of records in my data extension. Okay. Okay, now we are going to understand two more functions which has very specific use cases. So one is the claim row function and then the claim row value function. Okay, so let's understand the use case first. let's say what happens is that you want to buy one coupon code. Okay, so you go to maybe Amazon.com and you want to buy a gift coupon. Okay, so what will happen? You will make a payment and then the coupon code will be emailed to you, right? So, so let's say Amazon is managing one data extension in which Amazon stores all the coupon codes and everything. And let's say it has 100 coupon codes. Okay, so what we need to do? We need to, let's say I go to the Amazon.com and I purchase one, gift coupon and I'm expecting one email to be received. In that, the coupon code would be there, right? That this is your coupon code that you can claim. Um, Now in the data extension, we have to take care of few things. One thing is that once the coupon has been, claimed by the customer, has been distributed to the customer, we cannot use or we cannot distribute the same coupon code to anybody else, right? So that's something we need to do. And when we are distributing, we have to search for only those coupon codes which has not been claimed yet. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, so we have to only look for those coupon codes which have not been claimed. The second thing, once the coupon is claimed, we have to mark that coupon that has been claimed in the data extension. And the third thing, we also need to update like who claimed the coupon, or maybe at what date the coupon was claimed, right? So these are the things that we need to do. Now, definitely, like we can do it with the help of the function that we have, you know, discussed so far. There are some other functions like update D that we'll, understand later, but that will require, series of operations. So first we need to look for the data, then we need to retrieve the data, we need to update the data extension and other lot of things, right? So instead of doing all these things, what Salesforce has given us, it has given us a single function. Now we have to just, create a data extension, use that function, and this function will take care of everything, from its end. So how do we use this function? Let's take a look at it. So we have created one data extension for this one, that is coupon code D. Now, when we are using this function on a data extension, we have to make sure of few things. The first thing is that we should have one field in which we have the coupon code stored. The other field to store the status of the coupon code, that should be there, and the data type of that field should be Boolean. Okay, so these are the two prerequisites that we have. Like otherwise, we will not be able to use this function. Okay, so already all those coupon codes are already claimed. So let me just add a few more coupons. So we'll go to content builder to edit these records. So let's go to the state extension. So now we'll edit the records. Let me click on edit. So true means that this coupon has been claimed. So if you will change it to false, it would mean that this coupon has not been claimed yet. Okay. So let me change it to false for a few of the records. Okay. And let me Okay, so that should be fine. Okay, now let me just save it. So we have 4 columns in this data extension: coupon code, where we are saving the coupon code; is claimed, which will tell the status whether this coupon has been claimed or not; email address of the customer who claimed the coupon, and or you can see who to whom the coupon was distributed, and claim date, like when the coupon was claimed. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we'll come back to our email message. Now we'll see that how we can use this function. So the first argument we need to pass, so this is the claim row function. In this, the first argument that we'll be passing, the name of the data extension from where the coupon code has to be retrieved. Okay. So coupon code DE. Now the next argument, we need to pass the name of the field that will be used to identify for non-claimed coupons. Okay, so is claimed. So here we don't have to mention true or false, anything like that, because this has to be a boolean only. So boolean means either true or false. Okay, so the system understands that if it is true, it means it is claimed; false means it is not claimed yet. So it will only look for those coupons where is claimed is equals to false automatically, right? Now, email address. So this is the third column that we need to mention, that what would be the value of the field that we need to update. Okay, so who claimed the coupon, and what would be the value of this field. So here we are mentioning, okay, so here we are mentioning the email address without the quotation mark. What does it mean? The value will come from the data extension, that we will select at the time of the preview. So the value will come from there, and then it will basically use that value to update the record. Okay. So once, like, claim row, what this function will return? It will return a single row. Okay, it will only return a single row. Now we can use the field function over here, and then we can pass this coupon row over here, this variable, and we can retrieve the coupon code. Okay, this this one, and then we can use the output. So now let's just see the preview. Okay, so we have the error. Why? Because in the data extension we don't have the field email address, we have the field email. So let me just change it to email and click on preview now. Okay, so now here we can see that this is the coupon, right? This one, so this was retrieved and given to this particular customer. If you go to next one, so to this customer, this coupon was given, and if you go to this customer, this coupon was given, right? So now if I'll refresh this page, cancel, so we can see that these are the 3 different coupons that have been claimed by these subscribers. This is the email address and at the time when the coupon was claimed. Okay, so the email will be sent to the customer, and then they can use this coupon. Now let's say if now what will happen if I'll run this function again, it will not look for any coupon which is claimed. Will only look for the coupons that has not been claimed, and then it will update the email address and the claim date. Okay. Now what happens, let's say if you don't have any um is claimed, right? I mean, if you don't have any unclaimed coupon, in that case, what will happen? It will throw me the error, right? So what we can do, we can, like, to avoid that error, we can use a conditional statement that if there is any coupon, so what will happen? Claim row will return something, right? Now we can use the row count function to check um, whether it contains any row or not, right? So if it contains any row, then what we can do, we can basically run this function, field function. Otherwise, we will not run this field function. So we can use a conditional statement to avoid the issue where we don't have any coupon. But let's say what we want to do, let's say we have this contest in which what we want to do, that we are distributing the coupons for the first 100 customers, okay, who participate in this event. Now, anybody who would participate, let's say after that, we also want to give them a coupon code, but that is a generic coupon code. Okay, let's say maybe 20% off. Okay, and these are the special coupon codes, and that will give them, let's say, 50% off. Okay, so we have one more function that is called claim row value, in which what will happen even if we don't have any, like first it will look for if we have any coupon code or not available. If we do not have any coupon code, then it will return a default value, that is a default coupon, right? So like name of the data extension coupon code de, and then here we have to mention the name of the field where we have saved the coupon codes. The next is the name of the field where we are storing the status of the field, and then the name of the variable default coupon, right? So the default value in case no coupon is like no unclaimed coupon is left, and then the name of the field where we want to update the email address, and then here this is the value. So here I have hard coded the value, but also what we can do, we can use the email address directly. So let me show you. So let me just, what's this one? But what will happen, like we already have, I mean, for one customer, if the coupon has already been claimed, so it will not assign any other coupon or to the same customer. So what it will do, it will basically return the same coupon that has already been claimed by the same customer. So for example, let me just remove it and show it to you. So if I'll do the preview now, so if you see that to this customer, this coupon was already, like this coupon was already claimed by this customer, right? So for the same customer, the system is not retrieving a new coupon and assigning it to it, right? So what the system is doing, or this function is doing, is it is basically identifying, okay, this is the same customer. So I have to retrieve the same coupon code and display over here. Okay. So it is not going to retrieve the different coupon for the same customer. Now let's see if I go for the different customer. I think that's the different one. Okay, so that's a different one. And let me just refresh the data extension. Okay, so we have one left over here, but we don't have any more subscribers. So what I'll be doing, I'll be just using one hard code value so that we can claim that coupon as well, because we don't have any subscribers left now. Let's say abc@gmail.com. Okay. Okay, now we'll refresh the data extension. So now we can see that all the coupon have been claimed now, right? Now, let's say I have a different customer. Now I don't have any coupon left. So what it will do, it will return me the default coupon. So let's say it is now abc1@gmail.com. So this is a new customer, and for whom I want the coupon, right? So since no unclaimed coupon is left, so it will return me the default coupon, which is a default value, that is of 20, right? So this is how you can use these two functions, claim row and claim row value. If you are storing the coupon code, so you will have one field to store the coupon code, right? And the another field that you should have is you can have any name of the field. It is not mandatory that you should have the same name, But what I meant was that you should have one field to store the coupon code, and the another field that you should have to store the status of these coupon codes, whether they have been claimed or not. Okay, and after that, these two fields are optional, but we have these fields to keep the track that who actually claimed this coupon. So that's why, I mean, we have these fields. Okay. Now, this is how you will set up your data extension, or maybe you can have other optional fields as well, right? Maybe you might want to store the first name of the customer who claimed the coupon, maybe their city or any other attribute that you want to store, that you want to capture. You can do that. But these three fields are a kind of mandatory that you should have. Now, after that, you would use this function. So this function would require some parameters, right? So that it can process it and then it will return the result. So obviously it would require the name of the data extension and then the name of the field, like that will uh, tell, because this is the field name that we have given, right? Doesn't know that what is the name of the field where you are storing the status of the coupon. So we are telling the system that is claimed is the name of the field where we are keeping the status of the coupon code, whether it has been claimed or not. So we have to mention that. After that, we have to mention the field name that we need to update. So we need to update the email address of the customer that we have mentioned. Let's say if you want to update the first name also, then we can mention like first name and then, the value of the first name. Okay, whatever the value that you want to update.